Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Cody Robinson. I'm the president and founder of HOMEFIT Personal Training. I'm here with Joselyn Kirstein, who's been with HOMEFIT for several years. She has her own brand, Body by Joss, as well. And we've done some of these talks before. We've actually done
Mhm.
one or two. I know we did one several years ago. And I think as a company, especially as we move forward this year, we're wanting to give as much information as feedback, as support, all these kind of fun and deep videos. I know a lot of fitness companies will do, a lot of your generic things of how to find work-life balance, how to do, what's good workouts in the morning, how to motivate yourself, and we'll do some of those, I think. But I think today, I think Jocelyn, you and I, this is something that's, I think it's our point of topic today is really ADHD, and
Mhm.
the world has become very, very aware of it, and it's all over the place. And I think you and I have not been fully diagnosed yet, so I don't want to overtalk. But you've always said I probably have the signs. I have a lot of signs of it. My wife's always said it. There's a lot of things there. But anyway, so go ahead if you want to kind of introduce yourself. Tell people kind of where you're at, what you got going on, and what made this an important topic that you feel like we needed to cover today.
Hey, I'm Joselyn Kirstein. I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. I've worked with HomeFit 6+ years, I
Mhm.
think. Is that about right?
Should be, yeah.
And I have my own clients as well. Three kids, just one left in the house. So life's kind of starting to slow down, but at the same time, I'm still staying busy. Uh, the whole ADHD thing started when my daughter started having trouble in school. And someone suggested, actually, a family member suggested her getting tested for ADHD. And I thought, she's not hyperactive. She's not disruptive in class. If anything, she's really quiet and kind of, keeps to herself. But sure enough, I did get her evaluated and she was diagnosed ADHD. And so in that time, the doctor looked at me and he's like, "Hey, mom, does this kind of sound familiar?" And
Mhm.
I'm like, "My whole life, everything you just talked about, everything."
Yeah.
And so I got my diagnosis like 2 months later.
Well, honestly, I think I was telling you earlier. I was actually because we were trying chatting. But sorry, I think you've been probably one of the biggest motivators for me to really start paying attention to things. Last couple of years, it's been a hard set of years for a lot of people, and there's going to be some topics that we go through as far as really how um, we've struggled in certain ways, but how we found ways to really overcome them and help other people overcome them. But yeah, there's been a lot of writing on the wall for me, like people say, "Oh, you're starting all these new ventures," and it's all these, I'm just chasing dopamine hits. It's not, it's just, there's all these things that I'm really trying to correct it myself. So I'm excited to learn more about this really from you. And again, you've been an inspiration for me. So I'm in the process of trying to get some clarity on it myself, find this, because there's so much behind the scenes that people don't really understand that we go through. And we try to put on such a strong presentation to help lift other people up when
Mm-hmm.
there's some days and some weeks that, are harder than others for us. But before we get into the topics, is there anything kind of sticking out forefront of your mind and just in general on the topic of
Um,
ADHD?
I just want to say I hope this does help people. And if they ever have questions or want to just talk to me about it, my DMs are always open, and I'm pretty open about ADHD. And I am medicated. I choose medication for myself, and I do not think that's for everybody. And either way, whatever you do for it, it has to work for you. You have to do what works for you.
Yeah,
So,
well, makes sense. And it's a topic that, there's things around it of like faux pas, or people think, you're using it as an excuse because you're late. There's so much stimuli, or not stimuli. What's the word I'm looking for?
I know you're
Yeah,
thinking,
there's so
oh,
much,
your
negative.
stigma.
Yeah, so much stigma, so much negative around it. And I think a lot of it, especially entrepreneurs, there's a sense of pride that comes from it too. Like especially when we're on and we have high energy, like, man, if I could be like this all the time.
Yeah.
But that's rare. So yeah, hopefully this does help a lot of y'all. And as you can tell, I'm stumbling a little bit myself, and because I'm struggling with some of this stuff today. So honestly, I think it's kind of perfect timing just to be transparent. So, okay, first thing. So we want to talk about overwhelm. And of course, this is not just when it comes to health and fitness. This is life in general. When you came up with this kind of when this bullet point here, what kind of sticks out to you specific?
Overwhelmed in your mind. I went to my GP many years ago, and I was like, I'm just really tired. And she's like, oh, well, you're depressed. And I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. I really like my life.
Mhm.
And I said, I just wake up tired. She goes, that means you don't like your life. And I'm like, no. And I didn't know how to really tell her, this is what I really should have said to her. When I wake up in the morning, I play in my mind a constant reel of everything I have to do that day. So if you have 3 kids, you're working 2 jobs, you can only imagine how quick your mind's going.
Yeah.
So I mentally already have done my day before I even get out of bed. So that's day 1. Day 2 is me actually doing the physical stuff, right? So I'm mentally exhausted around noon already. And do I love my job? Absolutely. Do I love my clients? Yes. Do I love my kids? Yes. Do I love my life? Yes. It was the mental exhaustion I could not get rid of. So I was not depressed. The depression medicine did not work. The anxiety medicine did not work because it was stemming from ADHD that I did not know I had.
Yeah.
Okay. So once I did take medication, my brain was quiet. I could focus on one thought at a time. And I'm telling you, I did cry the first time I took medication.
Well,
I have never had a quiet brain before. And it was like when you put on a pair of glasses and you can see it for the first time.
okay, so this is kind of eye opening already, and I had a feeling. That's why I wanted to kind of be raw going into this one, because I wanted to learn from you directly what you've experienced. Because I've said this a lot lately. Like my brain is never quiet, and sometimes when you go to a place that's loud, your brain is already loud, and then you throw something else on top of it. So the fact that you're describing, yeah, I even had this hit a couple of times this weekend where it was just like the brain overload was just, yeah, it's like I could feel my body just physically like reacting to it, just totally shut down because you're exhausted from not even doing the work yet. So
Yeah, you haven't even done the work yet, but your brain's already done it for you.
yeah,
And you still have the whole day left.
right,
It's just crazy. It does, we get overstimulated. Our brains are overstimulated. So
100%. So after you found quietness in your mind, I guess before you found resolution there, were there any kind of coping mechanisms that you found worked? Certain planners that worked, or was it just
no,
you have good
no
days?
planners
bad days?
ever worked for me.
Yeah,
I would try to get the cutest planners.
yeah.
I would use them for a day and they would just be shoved aside.
Hmm.
I would try to put everything in my phone. But then it wouldn't match my calendar on the wall. So I double book. Um, it no calendar, nothing ever worked. And I'm just being honest until medication for me.
Hmm.
So I would just spin my wheels and burn myself out. We've talked about me burning out quite a few times. I'll go, 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 go and try to
Yeah,
keep everything up in the air. And
right.
then I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore
Yeah,
because my coping skills ran out.
right. Yeah, totally. And then on top of that, you're also trying to find dopamine hits to try and keep yourself above water.
Going.
Going.
Hmm.
That could be anything from just jumping on social to eating something or whatever. There's so many ways.
Sweets for me.
Sweets, yeah, same for me.
Sweets. Hmm.
Same for me. No, thanks for sharing this transparency part of it. It's funny. Even this morning, I was struggling because I knew again I was already fatigued from the mental chaos of the day coming up. I was like, I know I've got to get my workout in. If I can force myself to get my workout in, I'll have alignment in my head. I'll be able to, because that's always been probably one of the biggest, I guess, probably the biggest coping mechanisms for us over the years has been fitness.
Yes.
But then you'll still hit that wall and overwhelm of trying to get to your exercises. But
Yep.
I guess in that vein, I'm trying to make kind of a transition into, how do you feel like exercise can help people specific with ADHD? And then if they do know they have it, are there any kind of strategies that you have as far as overcoming the mental noise potentially and getting at least, back to focus on their health and fitness?
I always say for me, I just literally, you're just witnessing me losing my train of thought. Like literally, I had exactly what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No, it just happens. It's very normal.
Hmm.
I took my medicine at like 5:30 this morning and what it's like 10:45, so it's worn off already. So you're gonna get me not medicated. But for me, exercise kept me sane
Hmm.
because the brain was going so fast. I would match it with a HIIT workout,
Right.
literally wear myself out where I would just be exhausted and I could relax.
Hmm.
So that was a huge coping mechanism for me, which led to injury, overtraining, many surgeries. And I should know better as a trainer, but I was just trying to overcome that monkey mind, trying to exhaust myself. Um, but for general population with people who have ADHD, they see this huge thing of health and wellness, and it's big. There are things you can Google, books you can read, podcasts you can listen to. So many decisions that they have paralysis and they can't make a decision. So they don't do anything. So one way for us to help them is for them to get a trainer, and we can start slowly, small steps, not show them the whole thing that we're going to do, just slowly get them involved, slowly get them moving, and then they can see the whole staircase. So we break it down for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the fact that it's somebody that's in their corner that's trying to understand what's going on, I think relieves a lot of initial pressure and stress because they're
Mhm.
just like, I don't think people understand what's going on up here, and that I genuinely want to work out, I genuinely want to move forward, but I don't know how. So like, yeah, allowing us to help is definitely something that's there, even if it's just for a brief period of time to help get them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we were talking about earlier about how you think it would be almost quote unquote easier because there is so much information out there to jump into a workout, but it's noisier than it's ever been. So you don't even know really where to start or where to really commit to it as well.
Very overwhelming for some people. And if you have a hard time making a decision,
Yeah.
that would be even more overwhelming. So,
Yeah, and then the next topic really was the all or nothing mentality, which I think is the next step of hindrance. It's like, let's say we do identify which workout we want to do or whatnot, and it's like the burnout that can come from it, or just the initial anxiety that can come from, am I able to commit to this? Or you start, where I've struggled over the years is committing to one particular program. Like I'll switch and kind of bounce and forth. Maybe what'll happen is if there's a week that I'm derailed or a few days that I'm derailed and I just can't commit to it or I can't get back on track, it's like what's the point in continuing down that path
yes.
versus trying something new. But anyway, feel free to elaborate on that because I know
No,
that's
I agree. Most people think trainers, we always want to work out, we always have a plan. And that is so not the case. We're not superhuman at all. Like we have insecurities, we have struggles, we're not motivated every day. Um, Unlike you, we're kind of a little bit different. I can start a program and finish it the whole way through, even if I do not like the program.
okay.
Because all or nothing, I started it and I'm darn well gonna finish it.
Okay.
I will feel guilty. Like the guilt comes in, the shame comes in because I didn't finish it.
Sure.
And even if I'm not liking what I'm doing, which is crazy, I'm not going to say normal, but most maybe people who don't have ADHD would think, this isn't working for me. I'm going to try something new. I will write it all the way just because I started it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, it is interesting to see kind of both ends of the spectrum because I have talked to a lot of people that are that way. Or to your point, well, um, in the notes that about getting injury or overcommitting or just will not quit until that frustration and with something that kind of bleeds into the first of the year. A lot of times people will go hard too hard or get injured and kind of the setbacks. But yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything specific other than that to ADHD and how I guess what would be some advice that you can have off the cuff for people that deal with that in particular,
Um,
all or nothing.
the all or nothing for me, like half of my client, well, actually 70% of my clients are ADHD. We've discussed it because, when you're in a room with someone for an hour, you know a lot about their life, just like hairstylists. And
Yeah.
we're almost like their personal trainer, their psychiatrist, you know, what all, you know, you just hear a lot about their life.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm having to pull them back,
Mhm.
like restrain them a little bit, because I know if they want to do X, Y, and Z, we still have 2 more days to meet this week. You
Yeah.
know, I want to keep them consistent, and we can ramp it up, but I don't want them to ramp it up so fast that they're going to hurt themselves.
Right.
So I kind of pull them back. And if you don't have a trainer, my thought is speak to yourself as if you're speaking to a friend.
Mhm.
If your friend came up to you and said, you know, I started this program and it's kind of hard. I really don't like it. Should I keep going? Would you tell them to suck it up and just keep going the 90 days, keep going whether you like it or not? No, you would have sympathy for them, empathy. You would tell them about, you can try this, you can try this. So we need to talk to ourselves as if we were talking to a friend,
Yeah.
not just beating ourselves up constantly.
Right. No, it makes sense, and it is hard because we put so much pressure, and we feel like there's all this external pressure to be a certain way as well, and that doesn't help. And most people genuinely want the best for you, to be honest. And
Mhm.
so, like the being kind to yourself, I think, is important. And then coming from the other end of the spectrum, like I said, I'm one of those. If something gets in the way or I can't get to it, then the struggle is, what's the point? It's like if I
Which I see that too. I
that's
see
what
that too.
I see on both sides. So I'm trying to think through me as far as like what's my encouragement to other people, to overcome that, to not let a missed day or a workout that doesn't feel 100% on, because they're not always 100% on. I mean, most of them are no, and not to feel
Exactly.
and not to feel defeated by it. But I think it's that kind of that one day at a time type of approach, and just the consistency factor is obviously important across the board on anything that we do in life. And I think years ago, it kind of clicked for me what, like, if I couldn't get in, 40 minutes of exactly 40 minutes of some type of cardio or a workout, I was like, I don't have time. What's the point in doing it? Knowing that if I did a specific 20, 25 minutes, whatever, it's still fine. Like I'm still getting it in and stay in the course of, checking, marking it off my day. And so I think that's something that kind of has helped me over the years is it's okay. It's not going to be perfect.
Exactly. We hold ourselves to a level of perfection that no one else holds us to. We hold ourselves to this unrealistic,
Yeah.
like, bar. And when you hold yourself to that bar, you are not going to hit that bar all the time. So then you're going to get frustrated and upset. And, we just have to, like, not lower the bar,
Mhm.
but like be more realistic,
Right. And
you
the days
know?
that feel good, embrace it. Like,
Yeah,
be a
exactly.
motivator for the days that you're not in it. So yeah, I know. Yeah, all or nothing is a huge component. And for us that, like yourself, that you do have a family, you do have a business, and I have constituents and things like that. And it's like if you're in a position where you're trying to, you feel like you're trying to support so many people, and then you add that added layer of pressure, knowing that every single one of them are like, look, you need to take care of yourself. Like,
Exactly,
appreciate
exactly.
your
But you
help, but
don't remember that.
no, no, it's the last thing you think about. Which is honestly why what we said earlier, this is why we love doing what we do, because it's the joy I think that we get out of helping people out of these types of ruts, or help to help navigate through these barriers really to life, how to get through it. And that's I think when we're the happiest is when we're definitely helping others get through it, at
Definitely.
least I feel that way.
Oh, I feel the same. I feel the same. If I could help one person
Yeah.
avoid how I feel sometimes, and they do go get diagnosed
Mhm.
and they could get treatment sooner than I did, I would be very happy for them.
Yeah.
If I can help people, yeah, I definitely want to help them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal for everything that we do. Okay, so you had another good point as far as like ADHD medications. You're talking about how they kill your they kill your appetite and not have really fuel for the workout. So it sounds like you've actually seen a lot of trends in that space over the last few years.
I have, just speaking for myself, I run on coffee. I love coffee. You will always see me with a Starbucks. Because it's that dopamine, right?
Yes,
Like,
that's why I
if
have
you're
So I have two coffee shops, literally.
I mean, it really is. And the crazy thing is, I can have a coffee at 8 o'clock at night and I can still sleep. It's just like the medication I take. I take the medication and it's a stimulant, but it calms me down.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, they're always like, oh, you ADHD people just want these stimulants. The funny thing is, we can't even remember to take them, right? Half the time. And then we don't want to take them because it does kill your appetite. So not only are you wanting to do this awesome workout, if you have no fuel, you can forget about it being awesome. You
Right.
need that energy. So I always try to tell, especially my ADHD clients, cheese stick, uh, protein bar, protein shake. We tend to go for easy things. We're not going to sit there and make us a huge meal for lunch. Maybe you will. I won't. I'm lazy. I'm like literally lazy. If there's some baby carrots in the fridge, cut up strawberries and a protein shake, that's going to be my lunch because I'm just lazy.
No, I'm the same
Or
way.
I won't eat. I
Yeah.
won't eat.
I
So,
don't know if it's lazy. I think I really don't. I'm not trying to come back on. I'm just trying to
oh,
think.
well, I know what you
I know, I
mean.
know,
I
I
know
know.
what you mean.
No, I know what you mean. I know we're kind of playfully around it, but I'm just thinking through because I'm the same way. I'm trying to think through why that's always been. I think it comes down to decision fatigue. It's like we're already having to make so many decisions.
Yep.
So if it looks good, it tastes good, I'm just going to eat it. And which is also the drawback, having to
Yeah.
actually do it.
Yeah,
And
I want like quick and easy. So I will go for a boiled egg, pull
mhm.
a tuna pouch,
Yep.
mix it together, have my baby carrots, and it takes 2 minutes to do. And I'm good. I've had my protein, I got my egg, I got my carrots. I'll go take a nap before the next client.
Yeah,
So,
no, it makes sense. Just it's interesting to see kind of the similarities, I guess. Okay,
yeah.
so before we move on from the meds, so you talked about suppressing appetite, especially before the workout, but you also mentioned like some will, as the meds wear off, like kind of have a tendency of like raiding the pantry.
Yes. Yes. So everybody thinks that you're going to lose all this weight on ADHD medicine, and you may. I mean, sometimes you do, but usually it comes back or comes back more because you don't eat a lot during the day, but that medicine wears off. And then you can have like a huge dinner, and then you want the dopamine hit because you're tired at night and you're bored and you're hungry. So you go to the pantry and just raid it. And so then I'm thinking, did I just undo all my good progress I did today?
Mhm.
Like someone lock that cabinet where I cannot get in it because I mean it's just it's a weird balance. It really is. It's like all or nothing again, you
Yeah.
know? And you have to find that middle ground. Just to find that balance in everything, that is really the goal. That's the goal for me.
Yeah.
To find that gray area in everything. It's not black, it's not white. Let's find that gray area that you can have some fuel, but you don't have to eat the whole pantry, you know? So it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, no, it's a battle I've had for a long time too. I'm sure there's a lot of people that's kind of listening or watching. It's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Why that happens, or even if they are on ADHD, just kind of paying attention. A lot of times, it's just that. Yeah, for most of it's just why am I doing it, and can kind of
Just
kind of
being aware.
yeah,
Like when
awareness.
you see a doctor, even if they do not put you on medication or you don't want medication, they will teach you some coping skills like awareness. Just being aware, like, am I hungry or am I bored?
Right. Well,
Right? You ask yourself a couple of questions. But the awareness, it just takes some time to slow down to be aware. So
literally, that's honestly, this is why I wanted to start doing these talks again, because I think awareness is where so much of it really benefits people, and kind of pulls it together. Because a lot of times we have this stuff that's going on internally and mentally, but we don't do a good job of sharing this with other people. That's the other thing that I've really tried to be a lot more transparent, and really how I'm feeling or what I'm going through, or it's funny because having a background in behavioral therapy, but then not allowing myself to be open and transparent. It,
yeah.
it's been very eye-opening to me in the last 6 months to a year My poor wife now, she's probably like, okay, you don't have to tell me everything that you're thinking, like all the time, but like just I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to at least get in the habit of not compartmentalizing and not letting that just pull me down to the point, of course, because I'm no good to anybody, And then you have that slippery slope of if you are starting to kind of get in your head and not getting overwhelmed and don't express it in some form or fashion, yeah, it gets worse and worse, and then you definitely can't support the people, and then you get in that internal battle of, well, I'm just useless,
Ugh. I mean, we are truly our own worst critics.
Mhm.
We really can be. But like when you tell your wife what you're thinking, you're getting it out. And
Right.
then when you hear yourself saying it, you know what you're saying sounds like that's not right. It makes you aware of how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And like when I tell my husband a story, sometimes he'll be like, short version, Jocelyn,
Yeah.
short version. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, I don't know. I need to know what's everything you did today. Get to the short version. I'm like, okay, okay. So
Yeah,
I get it.
Melissa says short story long, like just
Yeah.
not long story short. Let's just get there. Well, cool. Okay. Sorry, we're through the meds, which makes sense, and there's a lot of awareness. I think even for me, if let's say I get diagnosed and I end up going that route, that's something for me to definitely be hyper aware of how that impacts me.
Yeah. Snacks. Have lots of snacks.
Got it. Okay, so I think this is probably going to be specific to a lot of things of life, but especially for exercise. Clear and concise instructions was the next. Actually, no, I skipped over internal dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Let's stay at internal dialogue because we were just there. So very self-critical, low self-confidence. I guess I subconsciously knew we were about to go that way. Trainer's job is to build them up and their self-confidence. But
Yeah.
anything.
And
But
I do have something to say about this. It's really hard. It's called masking. That's what they call it when you're being something that you truly don't feel like you are. Because I don't feel confident a lot of days. And
Mhm.
someone's like, I cannot believe you're not confident. You seem very confident, but on the inside in your brain, you're like, oh, I might not do this right. I might not do this right. But you're still coming off confident. They call that masking. So we mask a lot
Yeah.
because we're not going to sit there and tell our client, yeah, I'm feeling real unmotivated today. No, you're there to motivate them and you want to motivate them.
Yeah.
So you're going to give that to them. But then when I go home, I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm exhausted. Like I'm physically exhausted because I'm an introvert and
Yeah.
I have ADHD,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And the moments that, and hopefully people don't come across this and like, man, y'all are really struggling with this training. But it's like you're giving so much to the people, but you want to. You get
Yes.
more from it. But those 2 to 5 minutes before you get out of the car,
Yes.
have to kind of pump yourself up, or at least try to clear your mind of the noise.
That's
And
it.
focus on that. That's really what it is clearing the mind to be able to.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Because we do want to help these people. We like these people. We love our job.
Yeah.
It's just we have to turn this off to go do that.
Right. And when HomeFit was growing, in the beginning, it was getting pretty tough. So there was to a point where I would, kind of offloading some of my clients, transitioning some of my clients to some other trainers, just because there were just some moments or certain parts of the day where, I just feel like I couldn't give it all, after a while. But then I got used to the balance of how to run the business plus everything else.
Yeah.
I can do it. But yeah, there was sometimes we hit that moment, to where we even have to step back, and it's like, man, if I can't give you what you need, but we tend to overcome that pretty quickly, I think. As
Yes. And we're aware of it now. We're aware of it now. So we set our boundaries better.
right, yeah, but then too, like you said, if it's one that you give so much to, then you leave, and it's just like you're so drained, you're so drained. Um,
I'm kind of always amazed at those group fitness instructors, how perky they are.
yeah,
And they'll teach like 3 classes a day. And I'm like, that's amazing to me. I guess they're extroverts. I don't know. But like, I'm like,
maybe, but I would say if anybody's listening to this, or if you're an instructor like that, or Well, I'd love to know, do you deal with the same things that we're dealing with?
Me too.
'Cause
Me too.
I'm confident there's going to be a lot of us out there because we're servant hearted. And so like that, I think allows us to overcome in that moment that we want to give as much as we can to help other people. I think that's probably overcome. But go ahead. You were just going to say you felt the same way too, as far as wondering if they go through the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would kill to know that because I'll watch these instructors like on Instagram and they're playing the music and they're having to like dance and do the cues. And I'm like, I watch it and I'm like, I'm exhausted already just watching that video. I'm like, that's amazing. I want that.
Yeah.
So
But
kind of
you're right.
wonder.
There's a lot out there that are extroverts and really do thrive off of that energy, which is awesome.
I'm better one on one. I'm much better one on one person. So
Right. Anything specific as far as internal dialogue? Okay, so we talked about. Well, I guess it kind of solved itself. We were kind of talking about how we overcome it, but as far as like for our clients, it's really our job to try and pull them out of, to help build their self confidence and help guide them through it all, which is what we genuinely love to do. What's honest, it was as I'm thinking through it, and I don't want to run too long, but this is very important topics. I think about how a lot of our clients, especially for in home or even virtual people that work from home or do a lot. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, sorry, most of our clients are busy professionals, busy
mhm.
parents. The demands are get higher and higher, and that's why they reach out to us. One, because lack of time. Then two, it's just they want the privacy and the accountability of us coming to them. But I think that's one of the first things that I think when clients go to a gym, there's it's almost like they can mask sometimes, not allowing you to fully see what's going on in their life. So then there's like this battle of you have to train them for several weeks or months to be able to get through the shell of really
Mhm.
what's going on. And most of the time it's not them, it's external factors that are really pulling on them and stressing them. But when for our in-home clients, tend to naturally be a lot more transparent, a lot faster. I think, because we're in their environment, we get to see really what hinders or what supports them.
Mhm.
And that's really, I think, our first goal is the foundational movement. We can see that in probably 5 minutes. Here's everything we need to do. Here's the game plan for that. But then the next several, sessions are really trying to peel back the layers of helping to get them motivated and get them to
Yep.
see what's in their way. But I saw a couple of light bulbs go off. But what are your thoughts on that? Kind of that comment?
It like takes one session,
Yeah,
like literally one session, because you're in their home, you see their lifestyle, you meet their kids, you meet the husband, you meet the wife. You can I've seen their pantry. It's been open before. So I mean you see everything
right.
and they do feel really comfortable talking to you and sharing. So the more they do share, the better we know how to help them, you
Yep.
know? So
So that makes sense. All right, that's a great one to be able to what we go through, and then with internal dialogue, but then also how to help others through theirs. Okay, clear and concise instructions. So we got two more topics. How do you want to take this one? You want to start with well, yeah. Anyway, you talk about short-term memory problems, which Lord knows.
yes, which I have no short-term memory whatsoever.
Yeah, I
So
always say that.
can you
Oh,
remember anything?
I usually say my joke is when people ask me what I did this past weekend, I'll say, "Ask me next week."
Oh, okay.
Always been my joke because like it takes me. It's very hard for me to remember things and a lot. And honestly, I'll get off my soapbox here, but there's like this video or meme of this duck that's running back and forth through the house, and it literally took me 5 trips to get out the door just to go work out this morning because I kept forgetting things.
Oh yeah, like keys, wallet, phone. Oh yeah. Yeah. I get that. For as a trainer with like having 8 clients who have ADHD, uh the compound movements that have 3 moves in one, generally we do not do because they want to focus on 1 move at a time.
Right.
And if we do a compound movement, I'm in front of them mirroring it. Like they want that way they're visual learners. I'm a visual learner.
Me too.
So I can tell you what to do, but there's like a little lag in between hearing it and understanding it. And
Yeah.
I have the same thing. Like I totally get it. I'm like, let me show you. And we should demonstrate anyway, right? but like visual learning, it like 10 reps, push-ups, modified, go, right? Instead of saying, let's do 10 push-ups. Now you can do them on your knees, you can do them on your toes. Let's do 12. I just said so much stuff. They didn't hear any of it.
Right.
They didn't hear any of it.
Yeah.
So clear, concise expectations. And what else was I going to say? Oh, and for me as their trainer, if they do not care for something I do, or I did have one person say they'll never do a push-up ever. Like, don't ever tell me I'm not going to do it. Well, that was pretty clear to me to not put push-ups in the programming, right? We'll do chest press, right? But if you're trying to give me a hint and hoping I'm going to catch it, that's probably not going to happen. You're going to have to be clear and concise with me too. That way I know what you want, because I'm not really good on picking up on hints. So.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a two-way street. I think it's why personal training, we always joke about it being personal. It's being able to, it's all behaviors too, and how to navigate each other. Thinking through like the short-term memory and like the visual like mirroring, because I do demonstrate quite often. Just even if it's something we've done before, I'll foundation it. Because sometimes there's a lot going on in their brain too. There's a lot they're processing. They're going through that internal dialogue. They're going through the whole day and getting exhausted. So they kind of need us to kind of do that visual demonstration. The other thing I think is pretty, not really funny, but that I think through is the counting during the actual set of like to 12. Like I've got this habit now. Most people won't ever see it, but I actually count on my fingers while they're doing it. I usually have it like in my pocket or like as I'm crossing.
Okay.
That. Because one, I'm gonna lose count if I don't do that, and then two, I know half the time they're just gonna go till you tell them to stop, because they're distracted or something's entered their brain by the time they've gotten to, you know, the eighth or ninth rep. So I think just thinking through it all is pretty funny to me. But anyway,
that's why I kind of use timers sometimes. That way I can talk to them and not get sidetracked. So
yeah. Yeah, and it kind of takes that. Sometimes the timers takes the pressure off of them too. It takes the pressure off of both of you.
Yeah, because you can have the talk, you can banter a little bit. It makes their session a little bit better,
I've got a team of about 5 that I train, all clients, and a lot of times we'll do timer, for that specifically. All right, last thing, and then we can kind of open it up to whatever other thoughts you might have. But reminders. Talk about, is this specific to like sessions? Is that what
this is reminders for sessions. I remind them a day ahead. Well, actually, we talk about it before I leave from that one session. Then I remind them the day ahead. And then before I leave, I text, headed your way.
Yeah.
Because I've done the reminder without doing the heading your way thing. Right. And I get there and they're like, oh, I totally forgot. You sent that reminder, but I'm the same way. So I totally get it. Like, I don't take offense to it at all. So now I'm just really kind of heavy on the reminders. And it's for me too. It's for me too, to get my head straight and know where I'm going. So.
Right. No, it makes sense. I do the same thing. I have a handful right now. That's the same thing. If I don't do it, when they show up, they're going to be like, oh, and then honestly, then the workout's off. It's kind of a frantic start.
It is.
It's which is fine for us. We can adapt to whatever, but it's for them. I know they're going to be frustrated probably the whole workout, because the fact that they weren't able to come do it. So I like that you pay attention to that, like I do too, and kind of give them the heads up, and then give them the mental space to actually switch over.
Yes.
Work out before you get there.
You just said it. That transitioning time, we need that. We need that, and I think a lot of people need that transitioning time.
Yeah. It's so true. And I love this. I love all this about what we're talking about. Well, that's that's pretty much the main points of topic. I'm just trying to think through if there's anything else. Definitely would love for people to give their feedback on it. It's funny, I even texted you back like, hey, you want to write a book on this? And I know you're probably just like, whoa, don't overwhelm me with that kind of
I know my boundaries now, Cody. Yeah, don't overwhelm me.
No, that was the response that I figured you would send back to me.
It's amazing that you can do everything that you're doing. Like, I'm interested to see if you do get diagnosed, like if it's going to change anything or like, because you have so many balls in the air. I'm always impressed of how you handle stuff.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I kind of went to. I'm glad you said that too. Hang on that. Not to say that specifically to me, but back to the internal dialogue. I said earlier before we hit record that that's one thing that even when people, um, say that they're proud of what we're doing or that they're impressed by this and that immediate response, and it just happened to me. It was like, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I too spread too thin? Like all that internal dialogue. But with that being said, I appreciate you saying that, but at the same time, I definitely want to. I'm working very diligently to try and not start new things, not try and chase new things out of excitement, or dopamine hits, or see how much I can establish. Not that I'm stopping anything. I'm just
No, I get it. I get it.
like it's like seeing that I keep hitting these walls. Last 6 months to a year, I've been just had some hard moments, and I just want to make sure I'm doing a good job and being a good steward, to try and
Yeah.
protect it. Um, but to your point, yeah, I don't know. It takes a lot to really do it, and there's a lot of burnout that happens, a lot of things that
Oh,
people,
I'm sure.
and even trying to get back on social. I feel like you've always done a phenomenal job of staying in front of people and telling about your day and what you're going through, and I know you're doing it to try and help other people. That's kind of your driving force, and always been mine too. But there have been moments, and I'm sure you've seen this over the last 6 years or so, where you'll see me and then you won't see me anymore. You'll see me,
Same.
and then you won't see me.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
it's like we have to drop off the face of the
yeah,
earth and regroup, and
yeah,
then when we feel good, we'll come right back out.
yeah,
I mean, that's how I am.
yeah.
So
I just want to figure out how to get through that and get over that. I think trying to find that awareness, one for me, of what's going on and how to cope with it or manage it and get through. I think there's a lot of things that are opening up. So yeah, I'll keep everybody posted on.
oh dude, I can't wait.
I'll
Like
probably walk through the door and they'll be like, "Well, there's no sense in you doing any of this because I already know." Like you have it. And my wife will send me stuff, like here's all these things, but she says it out of really out of encouragement, because until you
yeah,
don't know, you do beat up on yourself.
you do. You
You think
do.
you think you're the problem, or you do think there's all these issues, and
Oh, we didn't even talk about sensitivity or rejection.
let's go through that. I'm
Oh
open.
my gosh. My whole life I've been told I'm too sensitive.
Yeah, well,
Whole life. I have been told that. I will cry too much. I think people are mad at me. Like if my husband has a bad day at work and he comes home and I haven't said anything to him, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Has nothing to do with me. But we have this need to make everybody good and
right,
happy, even at our own detriment sometimes. And it's just it's actual it helps me to know that it's actual uh a thing being sensitivity rejection disorder. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it is clinical.
right.
So whenever I do see someone in a bad mood, I'm like, if I have done something, they will come and tell me.
Mhm.
I didn't do anything to them. I'm good. Like it's not me. So I'm able to actually say that to myself now, which in the past I would just brood over, just waiting for them to tell me what I did wrong.
Yeah.
So
But even when you're going through that mental internal dialogue of as you're trying to really get through that new behavior of like it's not me, like that's still hard, because then you have the internal conflict of, well, now I'm just being selfish. Like what? Just like, well, now I don't want to be selfish and not try to help them through whatever they're helping through. And yeah, and it's just a
yeah,
slippery slope, and it's, yeah, to your
it
point,
is.
to our detriment in a lot of ways. And
But
um,
once you learn that like these behaviors have a name and it's not just that you feel crazy sometimes, it's like, okay, well, this is why. And I know this isn't happening. And you have to train your brain. It's not going to happen the first 6 times, it's going to take months. But like, I've been working on this for a year and a half now. And 9 times out of 10, I know it's not me now,
yeah,
which is huge to say. It's big.
right. Well, I appreciate
So,
you hearing that. That's something that I really need to continue to work on as well. And um, yeah, the to our own detriment part that's probably a whole nother podcast on that. You sacrifice so much, or you overdo to try and fix things, and it's
Mhm.
like
That
sometimes
aren't even broken.
right, sometimes you do it too fast to the point of you didn't even think through the counter effect that might happen if you do this versus that, where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty funny. It's anyway, keep going. Anything you want to think add to it?
No, that was it.
Yeah,
That was
well, perfect. Well, awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks for everybody to take the time to listen to this. I hope it's helped a lot of people. We would love to get some feedback. You can definitely,
yes.
yeah. What's Jocelyn? What's your handle for DMs?
Um, at Body by Joss.
Got it. And then mine's at Cody J Rob. Um, or obviously, I manage the HomeFit stuff as well. If you at HomeFit USA, and then anywhere that you see this, we'll get it posted up. We'll definitely feel free to leave comments in there. We'd love to get feedback if you need more clarity on things. I know Jocelyn, you said people would tend to reach out to you of where can I go get tested on those types of
Mhm.
avenues. But yeah, I think this is an area that we're both very passionate about. It is something that needs to be addressed. It's something that, and people just really need to be aware and to be reminded that, it's not your fault. That's just what's going on. And it's just
It
like,
is. It's the way your brain works, you know?
and it's just something to learn how to manage it, deal with it, and
Yep.
be more transparent about it. But, well, cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate you very much. And we'll see you on the next one.